Hey, this is Steve Bloom, and you are listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Hi, this is Pat Fraley, purveyor of Duck, Dog, and Villain voices, and you're watching Altered Geek.
Hello.
All right, so are we going to cover everything? Because I think we should be talking Deadpool tonight.
That was news that came out after I made this.
Yeah.
What's
there's going to be a Deadpool movie.
They put Fantastic Four on the back burner and decided to move ahead with Deadpool.
What?
I know. Get hype.
That's crazy.
I'm happy.
Yeah, because they were like, sure, it was a leak this past summer. And like, motherfucker, I took PR. This is called market research.
That's why they released the clip.
Exactly. They wanted to test the waters. Man, fuck off. It's okay, Fox.
Yeah.
Did I kill this flashlight? So I did. Yeah. Oh, no, there we go.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that came out earlier. I noticed it, but I was like, damn it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go over. So I literally, I've been watching Star Trek shit all day, so I've been just kind of on and off busy. Alrighty, let me take a look at the script again, because I know there was a few things I wanted to specifically.
I mean, those are just suggestions. If you have other ideas that,
let me see.
Those are just guidelines for things that we could do.
We could talk about how iOS 8 is fucking up iPhone 4S's.
That's not news. It's to be expected.
Yeah. The Minecraft thing. I mean, I'm a gaming dude, but I don't have anything to say about that other than yay. Nothing's gonna change.
Well, I was like super close to buying it until Microsoft bought it, and now I'm not buying it.
Why?
Because I don't want to give Microsoft money.
Do you want to play Minecraft or not? I don't know. I've been in the industry for 7 years, and it's a lot of who gives a shit. You're going to give them money anyhow at some point. So, unless they killed your family or your dog, I don't see a problem with it.
I don't see a problem with them buying it either. I'm just saying I'm not going to buy it.
But I guess I do have something to say about that there, Steve. I could bitch about that because I don't know. There are some, like, not singling you out, but I have heard people, they're like, oh, I'm not going to support this. Like, oh, fuck off.
It's not about supporting it. It doesn't need support.
Well, yeah, because the install base is retardedly fucking huge.
Well, and also the guy that created it basically just didn't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? I've made my money. I've got my fame. I don't want to do anything this big again. And I don't disagree with them.
The same thing happened with Fez. I've bought 3 or 4 copies of Fez, and right when I was actually getting ready to sit down and play, one of the 3 or 4 copies I own is when that guy, when Fish had his little fucking meltdown about Fez 2.
That's because he's a fucking baby.
And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I have no desire to even play your game anymore.
You know what?
I'm so keeping all this.
I can't remember who said it, but it was someone who said it was somebody for like Polygon, I think. He was like, video games are serious business. And I really just want to say, hey, do you remember when video games were fun?
Yeah, they're not serious business. Oh my gosh.
People blow it out of way fucking proportion now. And then the whole Gamergate and
I don't even know what that was.
In short, some guy broke up with his girlfriend, posted a bunch of shit about her. She developed a game called Depression Quest, and supposedly there was basically you slept with this guy to get the game a good review score, and then it's exposing all the corruption in gaming journalism. I'm like, yeah, where the fuck have you been? And I don't know, it got so stupid. And then they're like explaining how gaming has turned into this misogyny and all this other stupid bullshit. I'm not your shield, and how it turned into this feminism and
Yeah,
blah,
but
blah,
Polygon's
blah.
been going down that road for a long time.
Oh no, this is every site.
Ugh.
Every site and every gaming journalist is corrupt and whatnot. I'm thinking, holy fucking Christ. I mean, you could say the same thing about entertainment journalism, just regular stuff, and how there's a secret Google mailing list which blows it open, how leading journalists decide what to cover and what not. How they're shaping the news in the industry. I'm like, holy fuck, guys. It's video games. Press A to start. I don't know. Then again, as you can tell, I'm really fucking jaded. I only play games for review copies now. I could give a shit less about the politics anymore because it's so stupid. Like I said, it's serious business. That and people are pussy farts.
So in case you didn't know this you're listening to Altered Geek Unlimited, episode 58.
We're recording?
Sure, I'm keeping all that.
Oh, well, fucking it.
What is this off
There
the
was
cuff?
What's that?
So what is this
It's
off
partially.
the cuff?
It was good conversation, so I figured you
Keeping
should
all
stay.
this stuff at the beginning.
Hell yes, I am.
Oh, goody.
So yes, I am Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me this week are
Mike, the
Go for
Birdman Dodd.
and
Mike Booth Ninja Power.
yep.
There's a pair of mics
So-
on this podcast. Holy
Oh,
shit.
I said mine.
Yeah. So
Is there lag?
what's I don't think so.
I'm good. I'm in time.
I'm hearing everything.
It's the internet.
So
man.
Okay.
yes. It's the interwebs. So what have you guys been up to recently?
Been playing nothing but Destiny on the PlayStation 4, which is a game I said I didn't like, yet I can't stop playing it. It's the most satisfying disappointment I've played this year. 7 out of 10. That's what I've been doing. That, and what else have I been doing? Watching a lot of stuff in preparation for a lot of the fall premieres next week. Just finished up S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1 on Blu-ray. Not as many special features as I was expecting, considering it's a Marvel release. And I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, that's pretty much about the long and short of it.
Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Oh no, you can go ahead. I was waiting.
Oh,
for
I've been playing Destiny forever. See, is there lag? Because I've been talking, and you keep sound like you can't hear me.
It's on your end. So with that, we'll be back after this.
Returning for its second year is GrandCon Gaming and Comics Convention on September 19th through the 21st at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Grand Rapids, Michigan. This year, be prepared for more. With a guest list that easily doubles that of last year's, with artists such as Mark McKenna or game publishers like Jeff Grubb, it's easy to want to come check them out. There will be a silent charity auction, tons of panels for gaming and comics fans, and the list goes on and on. Registration is open. For more information, visit the website grand-con.com.
Oh, man, I just realized that's going to suck for Smash Brothers.
I'm not buying the Wii U.
Oh.
I don't spend the money just to buy the game. That's the only game I really am enticed to want.
Mario Kart 8 is so sick, though. It's so good.
I bought the Wii mostly for the reason of playing the Virtual Console and Super Smash Brothers. I could give two shits less about everything else.
There are good games on the Wii U. The problem is they're just few and far between. I mean, honestly, if I didn't get one for free, I don't know whether I would have bought it at launch.
And who hears me cutting in right now?
I hear you now.
I do.
Okay. Problem solved.
Okie dokie.
Okay, dokie.
All right, well, I guess let's rock and roll while the connection's steady ready.
Steady ready. Okay, so anyways, what were you doing over this past week?
I've been playing Destiny as well over the last 2 weeks. I'm enjoying. It's not without its problems. I'm enjoying the game immensely. I'm running out of carrots though. I just hit level 24 tonight. I'm having a lot of fun with that. That's why we haven't been recording off the cuff, is because we've been too busy playing that. Although Joe Reed and I did put the finishing touches on one of our first showcase videos, so he was able to gush about his love for Destiny, which even I don't understand his love for Destiny as much as he does. But that's pretty much all I've been doing.
Are you playing on PlayStation 4?
Yes.
We need to team up and do that awesome raid. I'm almost level 25, so 1.5 more levels to go, and then we can get our asses kicked for 10 hours.
Yeah, I'm nowhere close to. I can't find loot fast enough to get that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's my biggest issue with the game is the loot drops. So.
Yeah. There was a tip that was posted on Kotaku today. Join a faction as quickly as you can. Like join like Dead Orbit or the New Monarchy or whatever. Equip the class item. Play the game as normal, and you'll earn enough Vanguard, or you'll earn stuff through the Crucible and the Vanguard strike list that you can start buying that armor relatively quickly. Then each time you level up through the faction, you get 1 or 2 legendary items every single time. So it's not quite a cheat. It's more like a fast track. Like last night I was playing I think it was Clash, and I got an exotic rocket launcher.
Nice.
I've never seen a yellow item. I'm like, holy shit. I was so happy when I got it, and then I got a legendary pair of boots I can't use because I'm not a Titan.
Yeah, I got those today too, just by grinding.
I'm like, and then I got a legendary rocket launcher again called, let me see, the one I have is the Truth, that's the exotic one, and the one I have, which is legendary, is called the Cure. I love these names, I really do.
I don't like the guns as much as I like the guns in Borderlands. My big issue with Destiny is, while it's fun and it's great to play with my friends again in a game like that, it has none of the character or personality that Borderlands has.
Borderlands had a sense of humor. I've often described I've often described Destiny as if Halo and Mass Effect had a drunken one-night stand, and this was their bastard child.
Yeah, except I don't like either one of those games.
Blasphemy! How can you not like Mass Effect?
Well, here's my problem with Mass Effect. I tried playing the first one, and I got to the Citadel, and no, it's not the Citadel. Is it the Citadel? Forgive me, it's been like 3 years since I've played it. The main hub.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I got to that place, and I immediately was overwhelmed by the amount of people that you could talk to, and it seemed like every person that I was talking to was giving me something to do, and I was immediately overwhelmed, and I promptly stopped playing it because I can't play games like that. I'm fine getting side quests, but I need like something
Linear,
to tell me. I'm sorry?
So, like, do you need a more linear path through a game sort of thing?
I do, but like I guess like Borderlands is kind of like the perfect example. Borderlands has a linear path, but you can go off it and have your own fun, and you can grab the, occasional side quests and go and do that and stuff like that. But I always need to have like a sense of purpose, like one line where no matter how far off the beaten path I choose to go, it's always right there for me to get back on track. And just the amount of stuff that they threw at me very quickly in Mass Effect just overwhelmed me because, one, I've never really played a game like that. The only other game before that I tried to play was Fallout 3, and I had that exact same experience where I got outside the vault, and I was like, okay, now what? And I made it to Megaton, but then again, I started talking to everybody, and everybody had so much stuff to say. And then I immediately was like, okay, I don't care if I don't talk to everybody. But then as soon as I stopped talking to everybody, I was like, okay, now I feel like I'm missing stuff. And then I was like, you know what? That's too much for me. That's not what I want to. I don't want to feel that way while I'm playing the game. So I was just like, okay, I'm out.
I might recommend you try Mass Effect 2 because it's a little bit more linear. You can still explore and do stuff, but it's not as overwhelmingly confusing. Like, there's definite missions that you have to do, and it's a fairly fun. Although Mass Effect 3, it's a little more explory, but not so much. But I would really recommend you give Mass Effect 2 a try.
Like, I don't see, here's the thing, and having not played them, I don't really want to say I don't like them. I shouldn't say that I don't like Mass Effect. I don't have a problem with games that I haven't played. I don't like to do that, and I understand why people would like it, and there are certain games that I've never played, but I understand the critical appeal in them. And Mass Effect is just one of those games. But Halo, I've played all of them, and the only ones that I care for are ODST and Reach. So
Fucking A. Nice to meet a fellow fan of ODST. Best score in the entire series, hands down. I'm an audio guy, so. Anyway, Steve, it's your show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I was just listening to the conversation. I've been playing Diablo 3 a lot lately. I don't have the expansion pack, and I am playing on the PC online. But I've been pushing the limit more or less to see how far I can go in the game before I need help. By playing harder difficulties and playing by myself in there, and then opening it up to be public so that I can play it co-op with other people in the game. And so far, I've played with a bunch of different people. Nobody that I started playing the game with a couple years ago, but so I've been mostly spending time in there. I've gotten to the point now where I can pack away the money. Mm-hmm. I think I almost had 1 million gold the other day. Just in the last 2 weeks, I've earned that much playing the game, and because I have all level 60 items, I never have to buy anything. So, I've just been keeping busy doing that for the most part, other than doing various hidden projects behind the scenes for the network. And
is lack of money in Diablo 3 like a thing? Because
if you don't have items, like you don't have the armors or the items equipped that give you extra gold, like a percentage of extra gold per drop of everything, the problem lies that you can't create new. You can't combine the gems. You can't because they get more expensive the bigger the gem gets.
Okay.
And like they'll start out like 500, then they go to 1,000, then they go 2,000, then they go 5,000, and then it goes 10,000, 20,000, and so it keeps growing in numbers the bigger you want the gem to get. And being that I have close to 1 million gold at this point, I can do that. Plus, any items I get, I take them to be salvaged so I can get all the raw material. I have so much of those that it's just sick.
Well, the only reason I ask is because playing on the PS4, my wife and I, we had 5 million apiece.
Well, the thing is the gold, the way the whole PC one works has been kind of foobarred from the start. They were trying to make it too much like WoW and some other RPGs and everything, and as it's gone, like they used to have the auction market, and it allowed you to obtain things a lot cheaper than, because people were farming and then selling it on the market, the auction market or whatever, and they since removed all that, so everything got nerfed, and then they changed. You had your normal, hard, nightmare, and hell difficulties, and then they've changed it so you get like 10 different difficulties you can do, and I don't know if it's because I've got items that allow me to get the gold or what, or if they just added the ability to pick up more based on what you kill, but it's gotten to be such a pain in the ass trying to collect it over the years that I played it that I didn't worry about it, and okay. It's pretty much useless at this point. Like I need certain elements in order to build special armors or to teach the blacksmith how to make things, and I actually pick up better items than what I actually need the money for. So I don't need it at this point.
I was just curious.
I've been curious to get into Diablo 3. I didn't much care for 1 and 2, but
I liked 2, but I didn't like 1. I played 1 with friends. I was a part of a clan with people I went to high school with. Same thing for Diablo 2. And Diablo 2, to be truthful, I played it when it came out, and then I would pick it up every few years and play it again on Battle.net. because you could create characters just like you can with Diablo 3 on that, but you could also play standalone on your own desktop, in which case I would hack my character so that he had awesome shit, and then I would go through the game. But you can't do that with D3. But I think Diablo 3 is more fun and has more lasting power with it, you could say.
I'm curious to give it a try. I mean, I'm hoping like there'll be a Black Friday or a Boxing Day sale on it, and I might pick it up because it might be fun to like kind of stream that, because I've been streaming a lot of my games on my Twitch channel, and a lot of people seem to like these MMO type games right now. And it's funny because I used to hate these type of games, but playing something like Destiny kind of gives me hope, like, all right, this loot based stuff isn't too bad. I liked Borderlands, so maybe I'll enjoy Diablo because it's more hack and slash, so who knows.
I think I like it only because I got introduced to it from my dad and from friends, and I played with other people when it was Diablo 2, and it was like LAN or over Battle.net, and then being that now I think now I like it only because I played the original, but I don't think that I still don't particularly care for this format of gaming. Like I don't really play a lot of it.
Yeah, the whole always online gaming is a little bit of a pain in the ass. I mean, like one of the games I play competitively is Titanfall. You cannot play that game offline. There always has to be somebody to play against. Now there are bots in the game, but they're dumb and they pretty much rode the short bus to school. And there's just, I don't know, there are times it seems like that community's dying off. So if like your favorite game is online always and the community drops off, that sucks. Because you're going to have nobody to play with when you want to play this game offline in a couple of years. And that's what I'm worried about Titanfall when it eventually starts to slow down. But hopefully Titanfall 2 will be out long before that happens. But I don't know. Just always on gaming. I'm not sold on it yet.
I think I see with regards to like Titanfall and stuff like that, I think the shooter community is a little bit of a different beast, because I know my friends and I, every once in a great while, we'll go back and play Modern Warfare or Call of Duty 4.
Yeah.
And there are still people playing it.
I think that's still pretty much one of the standard games for competitive, because I don't think it, I think it was more balanced than some of the newer ones. And it had like its shooting mechanics were a little more nuanced. So I'm not entirely surprised there, actually.
It's just I think that, you know, you go back and it's going to be the guys that are really good at it. I mean, if you haven't been playing and you go back there, you're going to get your butt kicked. But
quick scope.
I'm not really worried about. I'd be more worried about. I guess I don't really understand. I don't know how Titanfall's network code works. Like, if it's like because it all runs on Microsoft's cloud servers, essentially. It's like, do they choose to just shut it off when, you know, there's only 5 people playing the game, or do they just let it, you know, take up its little like spot on the servers? You know, a lot of the stuff remains to be seen. I mean, Destiny's always on, and we'll see how long that one lasts.
And I'm really surprised because they have this huge 10-year plan, and I'm thinking, okay, let's look forward to 10 months before we start talking about 10 years.
I think. No, sorry, go ahead.
I was about to say, like, and with the content, certain content being exclusive to PlayStation for at least a year, I wonder how that's going to affect it, because Activision dumped $500 million. I mean, $1 billion, like $500 million in the marketing of this thing, and the reviews for this game are sitting at about 78 to a 70, and I don't know. I mean, they're going to have to really increase stuff in that game to make it as awesome as I think the game has the potential to be. I mean, it's a good game, but it's not a great game is how I would describe it. Like I said, it's the most satisfying disappointment I've played, but I can't stop playing it because now that I have something exotic, I'm like, now I want more.
You know, that's the thing I've heard from everybody is that it's okay, but I've played it for 40 hours.
Yeah.
Like, That's not an okay game. That is a game that works, and you're playing it for reasons. Even if you don't know, you're still compelled to play it. And I'm right there.
I think I've got a sickness. That's why I think I'm playing it.
I think that their plan, I mean, and that could change because of the reviews and how it's getting thrashed. But to be honest with you, I think just the way that I usually don't say this, I don't think the guys that reviewed the game like got it. Like, I feel like they weren't in the right environment to play it.
Well, it's actually funny you mention that because I think it was on Revision 3 or maybe it was Machinima. Someone said you're right because if you're not in the right headspace, I mean, I myself as a professional game reviewer, you're right. You're not always in the right headspace because when you're forced to cram a 40-hour game into several days, it becomes a chore, it becomes a bore, and you become a little bit more kind of cynical at it.
Let's be honest. Destiny, if you were to mainline Destiny, it is not even a 20-hour game.
Yeah, I think I beat the main storyline in about 10 hours, but I spent so much time screwing around in the Crucible. By the time I beat the main storyline, I was level 22, and I'm thinking, oh, well, I just walked through the final boss. Ow. What's that final boss? Oh, my God.
That was a piece of cake.
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
That's what made me mad about it, because it was the biggest disappointment since Halo 2. Thinking,
it felt like,
that's it?
That felt like the act one of a game.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to put my finger on like what other game, what act of another game that could have been, and I haven't really been able to place that. But I feel like, it sets up. I feel like all of what they kind of set up for like Destiny was, that's the story of Destiny, and then I don't think Destiny 2 is going to be so much a continuation of the story from Destiny 1, because I feel like even though it was so like underwhelming what you achieved, that's still the story that they wanted told in there. I think you're going to be a Guardian going on a different mission to save the galaxy, or the universe in Destiny 2, and then again in Destiny 3. And I think they're going to keep pushing you farther out in the solar system. So, and unless they get beaten down with their plans, from the next, from these reviews and stuff like that and the critics, I feel like, Destiny 2 might be like another 3 planets and a few moons from like Saturn and Jupiter. And then, Destiny 3 will be like the last 3 planets in the solar system as we get farther out towards where Pluto is.
I'm kind of hoping that we get more story content in the expansions, and I hope you're right, where they expand the universe to like Destiny 2, it goes out further and further. Now, have you heard the really weird theory how we're the bad guys in Destiny?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so in short, there was a guy who was on the moon, and he was listening to a couple of fallen people talk because you could sneak up on them. And the Guardian, the guy, jumped them, and they're like, it's the darkness. So they got to thinking, what if the Traveler is using humanity as its weapon, and we're the bad guys, and these guys are trying to kill us because the Traveler came to their worlds and annihilated them?
I guess here's my problem with Destiny, and I brought this up. We just did our first showcase video, and I brought this up on there, and we'll talk about it again when we do off the cuff more in-depthly. But I feel like, and I'm taking this straight from the podcast DLC, because they said it best on there. There is a big difference between story and lore. And Destiny is heavy on lore and really light on the story.
Yeah, I would say that's a really good way to describe it, actually.
I'm having a blast playing it, but I don't have a freaking clue what's going on. And what you just described to me sounds really, really cool. But because it's very much go here, shoot stuff, and destroy it. Like, I didn't see any of that. I haven't seen any kind of interaction with anybody anywhere that's not shooting at me constantly. And I'm amazed that somebody was able to like sneak around and like listen in on like pre-recorded conversation. I mean, to me, that seems like something that should have been like
a story mission.
Like, we'll put front and center in like a stealth style cutscene that then opens up into like, gunfire. But that's not what it was. This guy heard it because he was playing like, I've never seen anyone play this game that way, because everywhere I go, I'm getting shot at. And that totally makes sense, that we could, you could be the enemy. Because everywhere you go, you're just shooting stuff and you're destroying stuff because some, the Dinglebot tells you to destroy stuff.
Which, you know what? Have you heard of the Destiny drinking game?
I've heard of it. I can't remember what it was.
First off, you'll be dead in your first strike mission. Once again, in short, every time Peter Dinklage says, I have to scan this, take a drink. Every time you're in like one of those hold the line parts, keep drinking until done. You will die. But it's fun though. Although that's the thing. I mean, a lot of missions in Destiny are really, really the same because it's always, I'm going to scan this. Now I'm going to do this. But I don't know. It's weirdly addicting. And like I said, I think I've got a sickness with this game.
Well, I just want to bring up one more thing to you because, you know, you're a gamer and we can talk about this stuff. And we can move back on to talking about other stuff that's not this.
Destiny cast on Altered Geek.
One of the guys I follow on Twitter is Chris Kohler from Wired. And he brought up the fact that Destiny feels a lot like the first Assassin's Creed, where they spend a lot of time. They spend a lot of time with the setup and building the world and getting the mechanics to feel just right. But they were really light on story and like mission structure because Assassin's Creed was essentially go to this town, do these same 3 missions, assassinate this guy, move on to the next one. And it was that for like, I think it was like 3 or 4 worlds in the first Assassin's Creed. But Assassin's Creed 2 is where the whole series like came together and it reached its kind of, it reached almost its full potential and showed what Assassin's Creed could be. And he said that Destiny, the first Destiny feels a lot like the first Assassin's Creed, where they spent a lot of time like crafting the lore and getting the mechanics down the right way and everything's set up. Where Destiny 2 will be the one where they can open the floodgates and just build upon, it's like Destiny 1 is like you built the deck, and Destiny 2 is when you have your barbecue.
I like that. That's a really good analogy for this. So, Steve, should we stop talking about Destiny?
Yes, we should.
I guess so, because that's like
herpaderp.
Yeah, to me, I'm like, I don't know what that is, because I don't play it. So, any TV news that I mean, I know I put some in there, but any of it that grabs you specifically?
I'm looking forward to some of the new bad guys on Arrow because this is what's going to get me into the show. And the new bad guys for the Flash, like Captain Boomerang is going to be there, the Weather Wizard. I'm getting excited, and Gotham doesn't look stupid.
I'm kind of curious about Gotham only because I'm not sure how much I'm going to like it with it being the backdrop, more or less, of Gotham City. Like just having it that and having the villains like already kind of being there but not actually being called their titles unless they're actually trying to set them up way before Batman ever came into existence.
I kind of wonder what that show's going to do post season 1. Because having a Batman less Batman show, okay, it's a novel idea for the first season. But unless you either Smallville it or age the show like a couple of years, maybe put Bruce Wayne in high school with him maybe experimenting, going out and fighting people, I don't know if the interest is going to hold beyond the first season, maybe 2.
I thought the same thing about Desperate Housewives and Lost, and look what happened.
Yeah.
I'm not going there. That show didn't grab me.
Which one, Lost or Desperate Housewives?
I don't like either.
I like Lost, but the fucking thing is, the big surprise is kind of stupid. But I won't spoil it for people. Well,
why not? It's been off the air for several years.
Because I'm not done the series yet. I'm only on season 3. So.
Oh, okay. I was gonna be a dick and just say
don't be.
And I've never even watched it. I just know what happens.
Someone's gonna spoil it in the fucking comments. You watch it now.
Comments?
We get those sometimes. Sorry, bad poke. I am kind of interested with Flash and Arrow though, as far as some of the villains being that they've got 3 Prison Break alumni showing up in it now.
Yeah, I think the guy who was the main dude from Prison Break is Captain Boomerang, isn't he?
No, he's actually Captain Cold.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of captains on this show.
Yeah. Well, they ran out of names. They couldn't call him Man anymore at the end, so they had to put Captain at the beginning.
Now, who made him a captain? Just curious.
He thought it was a cool hero name. He had to use it. It was better than saying I'm the cold man.
I'm the cold. You have a cold? No, the cold.
But I think it's funny that they have the brothers that were on the show that played the brothers on Prison Break are going to be villains on the show, and then also you've already got the Clock King, which was Theodore Bagwell on Prison Break. So I'm kind of interested to see how that all plays out. Plus, I'm already psyched anyway from the pilot of the Flash and from what's coming to Arrow.
I'm excited for S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2. They already have Crusher Keel in the first episode, who's Absorbing Man, I think.
Yeah.
So I guess they're setting up the whole... What are those guys called? The Wreckers? They're like bad guys for Thor.
Yeah, I think
I don't have a clue.
Yeah, so I'm hoping they have the dude with the enchanted crowbar, because I think that would be awesome.
I know nothing about the Marvel Universe.
I have
to put it
zero interest in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, I'm gonna watch it because I finished season 1 and it's a train wreck show for me. But it
got better after Captain America for sure.
Yeah,
that's the only reason it's relevant.
Yeah, and it sucks because that show should have been way better from the start. But once again, they had to establish the universe. But I think they spent a little too much time doing that and didn't make it interesting in the first half.
They didn't even establish what universe. That was established in like 8 movies. What else could you possibly need to establish? Nothing. You need to tell.
And then
good
the
stories.
only thing the only thing that actually made an effect on the show was Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Well, they did have some other little references to other things, but nothing significant.
Yeah, there was nothing really to pull anybody back to it. And then the Fury throw in and Maria Hill and those I liked them at the end of season 1, but the after the credits thing, it works with film. It doesn't work so much with TV.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that in season 2 they take the lessons they learned from season 1. It doesn't not every episode should feel super tied into Marvel, but make them interesting. Like, I want to see more lower level bad guys, because I know the guy who plays Blizzard's coming back in the 3rd episode. I want to see Graviton become a full-on villain. And I'm not even sure what else I'd really want to... I'd love to see them develop MODOK, and I know he's the giant floating head. But honestly, in the first half of the season, I thought the clairvoyant was MODOK for the longest time.
I thought it was going to be Leader.
That would have been awesome too.
That's who I was thinking it was, like half the first season, and then when they revealed it was Garrett, I was like, that's total bullshit.
Exactly. Give us the Leader, give us MODOK, give us something.
That would have at least made it relevant.
Yeah. So hopefully in the second season they'll learn from that. Maybe we'll get more AIM involved there, because they're still around, because they've mentioned them. Hydra's still out there fighting. It'd be nice if they got the guy who played Baron von Strucker to come on. Now, supposedly, S.H.I.E.L.D. will lead right into Age of Ultron, because they've already mentioned that in like a press junket recently. So I'm really hoping it's a Captain America level. Shit's going down. And they've already said characters from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will appear in Ultron. Obviously, it's going to be Coulson.
Well, yeah.
I'm trying to think who else they can maybe bring in. Maybe May? Maybe? Because she's a pretty big
I think
name.
Skye will be in there.
Oh God, I'm out.
I think she's Inhuman, personally.
I think they're going to reveal it in season 2.
I don't think she's an Inhuman. I think she's a Kree.
That would be cool too.
I think they're going to reveal that in season 2, because they've already kind of hinted at the fact that she's not normal.
She's a
human
084.
DNA. She's not human.
Or what is Captain Marvel?
Really...
Is he Kree?
Yeah.
He's Kree.
Yeah, Kree, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think, the whole thing that with Coulson that went wonky at the end of season 1, I think they'll reveal that too, but I think that all remains to be seen. But I think they did set up some nice things. It's just whether they can pull it off or not.
All I'm saying is, please don't suck. please last until after. Well, I guess Disney and Marvel have that thing where they have to keep Shield on the air until, at least until Age of Ultron airs. After that, I guess they'll kind of see where it's at.
Now here's the thing. If now I'm really pissed because this is the first I've heard this. I have such a problem with the Marvel movies and their continuity. I'm going to be really mad if I need to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to get the lead into Age of Ultron that was not present in Phase 2. I'm going to be really irritated if that's how this ends up being played out.
I think it'll give you a little something extra, but I probably wouldn't say it's necessary. That's what I'm going to guess, because they don't want to alienate the main audiences.
I think that there was like, whereas we've talked about this before, I hate rehashing this stuff. Like Phase 1, like the Cosmic Cube was always there. Like always, it was present in just about every single movie in Phase 1. So people had something to follow going into Avengers. You knew who the players were. And Age of Ultron, there's like the little threads leading up to Age of Ultron are like not as obvious as the Cosmic Cube was in Phase 1, and it's kind of led me to the belief that Avengers 2 isn't so much like the end of Phase 2 as it is just an event in Phase 2. Like, this isn't like, it's not, I mean, yeah, in Marvel terms, it is the end of Phase 2, but like the way I view it, or the way that it feels to me, is that it's just an Avengers movie that happens to take place in Phase 2, and Phase 2 like just basically continues on to end in Avengers 3, because like the lead up, like explaining Vision and Ultron and the twins, like all that stuff has been like non-existent, other than just we've heard about Vision, we've heard about Ultron just from news stuff. They've never been mentioned in the movies to date. You see where they could come from, like if you know what those characters are, you see where they could come from. So if you're like a fan, or like, but if you're the mainstream audience, these characters are going to come from out of nowhere, unless they hit you in the face with it. There's no breadcrumbs to follow like there was with Phase 1.
Yeah. I'm thinking we might get hints through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. about the Ultron program, or you know what? I'm really surprised that they never got the guy who does Jarvis's voice to randomly call into the show or something. I'm really surprised they didn't do that.
That would have been kind of cool nod in a way.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been like, I'm sorry, sir, Mr. Stock is not available. How may I help you, Agent Coulson? That would have been, here's your $10, here's a coffee, do your lines. That would have been easy. Would have been real easy.
But then it would have alerted Stark to know that Coulson's alive.
Yeah.
Which begs to the other issue is, if in the Avengers, why didn't Tony Stark know that there was this whole program? If he was bugging S.H.I.E.L.D. system to know all their dirty secrets, it didn't know that Coulson was going to be revived if something, or that the whole revival program was in effect. Here's the thing. And
just because he
and having Hydra built in,
just because he mined it doesn't mean he looked at it.
That is true, but he could have had Jarvis,
But I mean, I think that, see, that's the other thing. I think that I've rewatched, I think I've talked about this before, but it'll be interesting to get Dodd's perspective here. I don't know if he's heard the other stuff in the other shows, but I feel like Marvel played the long game, and if they did this and they had this planned out from the get-go, then more props to them. But it could be kind of like an Arrow thing, where it's like, we're going to put these seeds here, and if we pick up on them, then that's great. If we don't, then no one's really going to notice. But there is, in Avengers, there is a whole lot of talk about Phase 2, like in the beginning and kind of throughout the movie, like Phase 2, Phase 2, Phase 2. And they lead you to believe that the developing weapons with the energy from the Cosmic Cube is Phase 2. But I don't think that's it, because Fury makes note in the beginning of the movie to move everything having to do with Phase 2 out of that facility. I think Ultron was going to be built by S.H.I.E.L.D. It was kind of, because Ultron in the comics is a jailer, more or less. And I think that S.H.I.E.L.D. was developing the Ultron robots as a way, as like their, as phase 2 to the Avengers Initiative. Because if you remember, the Avengers Initiative had been canned until, you know, the Avengers happened, and then Fury went around the council and just like reinitiated it because
he felt like it.
He felt like it. They needed him, and you know the Ultron program wasn't ready to go yet, which at that time is called Phase 2.
That wouldn't surprise me, actually. And
that's actually very good sound logic there.
I just feel like, and you know, we know that Stark starts working with them because he redoes the thrusters for the helicarriers. So
with repulsors,
what if he, like, I think he would jump on the fact that, you know, let's help. I'll help you create your jailer. You know, what's the harm in helping you create, you know, a robotic police force, which would lead credence to the whole, like, all the concept art shots we've seen of the oceans of Ultron fighting the Avengers. I think you'll see like a bunch of drones, and then you'll see one main like Ultron, like basically, which will be like a Iron Man suit gone rogue. Sort of thing? Yeah, Ultron
decked out. Well, I've heard that the differentiating things is going to be the colors that come out of the armor. Like the drones will have one color emanate from them, like a blue hue or something, and the Ultron will have like a red.
Well, I mean, that makes sense.
Come out of the eyes.
But I just, if they played the long game and they had been laying those seeds throughout the entire thing, because like Captain America, they bring online the surveillance system, you know, where Shield can target like anyone at will. It's kind of like, that sounds a lot like something Ultron would use. And then you have Tony like data mining everything for Jarvis. Like, I think Ultron's personality is going to be an extension of Jarvis.
Yeah.
Even though Jarvis will become the Vision.
Well,
I don't think it could be a copy of him.
I don't think Jarvis becomes Vision. I think just they got Paul Bettany to play Vision.
I think Jarvis is going to evolve into Vision. I think what'll happen is Ultron will free him more or less and try and take it over.
See, that wouldn't surprise me.
And I would think that maybe Ultron is a corrupted copy of Jarvis that got mixed in with some Hydra goop in the SHIELD computers.
Now, see, from beginning to end, that's a lot of ground in a movie to cover. Like, if you think about having to set that up, not to mention you've got Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver and the remains of Hydra still, like, out there. Like, how does... I just don't see how everything comes together in a nice, neat, you know, 120...
I don't think it's going to be very neat.
120, 150-minute movie.
I think it's going to be a huge mess, but I think that this is going to be like the giant war film, and then they're going to have the big bad in Avengers 3. I think this is going to be like the Empire Strikes Back of the Avengers movies,
where basically we don't win.
Like, because think of it this way, the first Avengers is like A New Hope. They're gathering the team, all these ragtag guys, putting them together and going after the big bad, and then they're barely triumphant. And then this one is the big war, you know, going against all weird odds from all different angles, which would kind of be like the Empire Strikes Back. And then, you know, you end up with some guys that are going to be seriously affected by it by the end of it that are heroes. And then the next film, I think, is going to be the ultimate big bad, which will probably be Thanos or somebody like that. And
I will be shocked if Avengers 2 doesn't end with a pretty bow. I
don't think it will. I think it's going to end just like how Empire Strikes Back, totally effed up.
But I'm just saying. But we had this conversation not too long ago on Alter Geek about movies that don't end well. Like, that has not happened in a long time, and it certainly hasn't happened in a Marvel film to date. Like, they've had the pretty bow, like the wrap up, like, you know, this is a self-contained story. You know, move on to the next chapter. Will this end up being? Will it be like, you know, a downer, end on a down note? Like, I don't know. Like, I would be thrilled. I would be over the moon if that happened. I'm just saying I will be surprised if that's what happens. I hope it happens, because it'd be great. Because that's one thing I feel like the movies have been lacking, is any kind of weight or danger to them, really. But yeah, I've talked about Avengers to death on here and with everybody else. So
Hold on just a second. I think we lost Dodd.
This part has been edited. Ha ha ha. You'll never know what was actually here. Well, that sucked.
Yep.
So what'd I miss?
The end of the Avengers conversation.
Damn. All right. What are we talking about now? Or are we done?
Okay. Yeah, we'll probably blitz through a few minor things and then
what you need is a
on.
nice elevator snippet, nice snippet of elevator music to put in between all of these transitions.
Sounds good. And then have some creepy voiceover. Pardon our dust. Alrighty. Should we talk about the random back and forth of Star Wars Episode 7 and
J.J. Abrams?
Batman vs. Superman, or v Superman, with them constantly teasing with each other's franchise?
I think that might be kind of funny.
You guys can talk about that. I know nothing about this.
Should we talk about Deadpool?
We can skip to that. That's more interesting anyway.
All right, let's do that.
So, it appears that 20th Century Fox has officially announced a February 12th, 2016 release for Deadpool. And they've shelved Fantastic Four in the meantime in place of this.
Here is the internet's complete lack of surprise. I don't know. Their Fantastic Four looks friggin' stupid.
You've seen it? I haven't seen anything for it.
I've read some of the stuff that's happening behind the scenes. The fact that they've changed up a lot of it, I don't know. I've got a bad feeling about it. A really bad feeling.
I think that's one of those franchises that doesn't need to be on film.
I would disagree with you. I think the problem is it needs to be handled by someone who gives a shit about the franchise. Now,
I mean, somebody that writes it?
Well, not even so much that, because then it's gonna be a little too much. Like, you need someone like a Joss Whedon, but not him. You need someone else. I like the guy who did Winter Soldier.
Wait, whoa, hold on a second. Why do you guys think Fantastic Four has been shelved? It says right here it's coming out August 7th, 2015.
It's been pushed back.
Pushback is not the same thing as shelved.
Well, I read two different
and that could also be because Assassin's Creed also moved. Like, there's a whole big thing that happened here.
Yeah, that could be.
I'd rather see Assassin's Creed than Fantastic Four if I had to pick.
Because it's not, I mean, yeah, okay, so, okay, here's the thing. If this was true, and Fox, did shelve Fantastic Four, which according to Slash Film is not what happened, I think that'd be weird, because Fox would have done that twice, because they did that with the 1994 Fantastic Four film, where they shot a complete movie from beginning to end with special effects and everything, but they didn't release it, and they did it solely for the purpose of keeping the rights to Fantastic Four.
Which, if you've ever seen it, it's amazingly stupid.
Well, here's what's... Okay, yes, it is. It's visually very bad. I found the story in it to be much better than the Tim Story Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
I feel like if they had remade that movie with, like, better special effects, I feel like the Fantastic Four franchise probably would have gone somewhere. But that's all I'll say about it, because, I've only seen, like, the crappy internet torrented version.
But that Fantastic Four series that came out was right around the time of the first Spider-Man trilogy. So it kind of has that kind of look and feel to it that those did when it came out.
Yeah, but the other thing, too, is that those Fantastic Four movies, I rewatch the first one every once in a while, and I'm amazed at how dumb New Yorkers are. Because every single problem that happens in that movie is because of the Fantastic Four. And then they clean up their own mess, and the city deems them heroes. Like, the entire mess on the bridge where the Fantastic Four first reveal themselves and use their powers, that is caused by Ben Grimm going out in public and standing on a bridge. He causes an entire traffic jam and pile up, and then proceeds to help fix it. And everyone forgets that he caused it, and everyone deems them heroes. And then the whole movie like unfolds that way. It's them causing problems and then fixing them, and just people looking the other way. Every time I watch it, I'm amazed. I'm like, really? Okay, whatever.
I don't really see anything that's enthusing me about the film, but I'm not a huge Fantastic Four fan. But I also don't. I don't know.
I think I'm one of the few people that likes Ultimate Fantastic Four, and likes the younger take of the characters that was introduced with Ultimate Fantastic Four. And I'm okay with a long time. I think it was like, I think it started with X-Men, but this has kind of started happening more and more. Like, I would rather see a new take on something than serving up the traditional thing. And there are people that want to see like shot for shot remakes of certain things, and there are people that want to see literal adaptations, and that's fine. You can want that, but I like being surprised and seeing something different. It's kind of like when X-Men first came out and they like swapped Jubilee with Rogue, and people were up in arms about the original, like the entire original team not being there and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, but those movies work. They're good. And I don't expect the cinematic version of a comic book to be the literal interpretation of the comic book, because I've already read it. And kind of like how remakes don't really take away, a remake of a movie doesn't take away the original version of a movie. It's kind of like, an adaptation of a comic doesn't ruin the comic that it came from. It's just, I don't know. I was interested to see where this was going to go with Fantastic Four, because I like Josh Trank, and I especially like Chronicle. And I think he captured, being the young, like, superhero, or people like learning to use new abilities really well in that film, even though it was essentially the genesis of a supervillain, which was great. I was excited to see his take on Fantastic Four, because I like the cast and I like the director, and I like the idea that they were kind of mining, Ultimate Fantastic Four, and we're going to tweak some things. I was even on board with the rumor at one point where it was like Doctor Doom might be a girl. I was like, sure, why not? But I know we were talking about Daredevil here. If it's not Ryan Reynolds, I really don't care. And from what I'm seeing here, they can't confirm if Reynolds is in it or not. Although he has said before that he's still attached to it.
I think he said he still wants to do it. It's whether they actually cast him or not. I think they'd be stupid not to cast him as Deadpool.
Well, especially since he's agreed to leave the mask on.
Yeah.
Just please don't fuck it up. That's all I ask.
Yes. Yeah. I gotta be honest, besides the X-Men Origins Wolverine, I mean, I knew Deadpool wasn't like what they made him in that, which was dog snot by the end of it. But I also liked the portrayal that Ryan Reynolds did of him. And then after watching that not even 2-minute video, kind of teasing him playing it in the animation, I thought that was the most hilarious thing I've watched online of something that's not an actual thing. It's to the point I want to go get the video game to play it.
Danner has it. He said it was actually kind of fun.
It's not
because
bad.
I watched some of the YouTube videos of some of the cutscenes and thought it was kind of funny. And so, I mean, it has me intrigued either way, just because it's a psychotic fourth wall character. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I want this movie to be made because you talked about breaking the fourth wall. One of the reasons I want to see this movie is because the script that I've heard them talking about, the writers that did Zombieland, I've heard them talking about the script, and it essentially removes X-Men Origins Wolverine from the X-Men continuity.
I think it'd be funny if they had Deadpool basically talking to the screen and saying, "Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
Well, that was total bullshit."
No, that's what it
and
is.
Then,
That's exactly what it is. It places,
Really?
yeah, the line places X-Men Origins Wolverine as a movie inside of a movie. And basically, there's a line where Deadpool's like, they got the character totally wrong.
I think that would be freaking hilarious.
I think he's supposed to go to the multiverse to kill the Wolverine version of Deadpool or something. That's one story I've heard, which would also be hilarious.
It's some of the guys that did Zombieland, and they're okay breaking the fourth wall. So
I'm game. I'm game. I'm enthused for it. So I just hope that they get Reynolds to play the character.
So
I
at least-
will be there
listen.
opening day. That's going to be the best Valentine's date movie ever. I'm excited.
I don't know if my wife will want to see that on
Well,
Valentine's
let's
Day.
You
not
tell her
forget-
to shut her mouth and
Hey.
she goes to see Deadpool.
Hang on a second. Let's not forget Daredevil came out on Valentine's Day.
I'm a Daredevil apologist. I actually really like that movie.
My
I
friend
thought you were going to
does.
say you're sorry you saw
My
it.
friend does too, but he prefers the director's cut over the theatrical
Oh, God,
cut.
yeah.
So, I have not seen the theatrical cut. I haven't actually revisited that movie since I saw it in the theater.
I watched it on TV.
But that's not any better.
Yeah, Daredevil, go see the extended cut. It's so much better.
I think I'll wait for Ben Affleck to play Batman.
I liked him as Matt Murdock. I just don't know if I liked him as Daredevil. If that makes any sense. You know what I mean?
Those early 2000s movies had terrible costumes.
I think Daredevil is one of the few ones that got it right, but the Elektra, I like the casting, but the second one, the Elektra standalone movie, I could not believe how bad they boned that.
I just don't like Jennifer Garner. I think her forehead's too big, so I can't really look at her for too long.
She always looks like she's got a question on her mind.
Yeah. But my issue with Daredevil wasn't so much the theatrical cut itself. I just remember going in there and being able to, and there were a whole bunch of articles online about this, because it was like, Ben Affleck didn't do his own stunts. There was a lot of CGI work that could have been done by a guy like in just like a stunt guy. In that movie, there was a lot of CGI work that could have been done by an actual person in a suit. And I remember there were a whole bunch of articles about that being written. It's like, like the death of practical effects. And that's like one of the first movies I went. And it's like, you could tell when they switched from live action to, a computer generated character. And it was very much like, why couldn't a guy have done that? Like, and
Unlike the 02 Spider-Man movie where he's jumping between buildings and then it clearly looks CG, but there's no way somebody could actually do that.
well, but yeah, and I have the same issue with Spider-Man, but at the same time, there was something. I feel like Spider-Man still, even it breaks down a little bit, and there is definite CGI usage. I feel like there's less of it unnecessarily.
Oh, okay.
Whereas if you watch Daredevil, there is a lot of it unnecessarily. And I don't know why that was. Again, that movie came out like over a decade ago, so I can't quite recall the articles. Like it was yesterday that I read them, but yeah, that was one of the knocks I had against the movie myself. Was just like, okay, now this is just bad.
I always got to give props to films that don't use excessive CG. Like there's instances where they have to use it, and I understand that as long as they're doing it good. But when there's an instance where they can just do practical effects, it always looks so much better.
Well, I remember one of my favorite things to do is watch the special features and the commentary tracks on like the Blu-rays and the DVDs and stuff like that. And Batman Begins has a really interesting behind the scenes featurette where they're talking about the scene where he's in Arkham and he summons the bats and he drops down, under the cover of the bats, he drops down through the stairwell.
Yep.
There's a behind the scenes featurette where they're like, okay, do we do this with live action or do we do this with a computer? And they had the computer CGI special effects guys go, okay, they're like, okay, you go over here and you try to do this scene using your computers, and we're going to do this scene, with practical effects, and we'll see which one looks better. The end result, I think, it turned out to be like a mesh, obviously, because they did it live action, but the bats were CG.
Okay.
So him coming down the stairwell, there's actually a person descending down the stairwell, in the bat suit, and then there's CGI bats added in later. Whereas, like, they were like, do we do like the entire thing with him coming down the stair, coming down as a CGI? And I guess what happened was they couldn't get the cape right because of physics.
Huh.
So like, we'll just do it, practically, and we'll add the bats in with CG. And there's like a lot of the Dark Knight trilogy, for all of its knocks and stuff like that. There's a lot of practical effects in there, like that Tumblr scene with the garbage truck, all like in Lower Wacker Drive in Chicago. That's all miniatures, like remote control cars.
Nice.
And you can't even tell.
So, I think I'll move briefly to the questions and comments, not too in depth. But, anyways, the previous week, myself and Blanchard asked, it was more so after the fact, but if you died tomorrow, what universe, could be comic, film, TV, or animation, would you want to be reincarnated into? And I was just doing that just to see what people would say, and I saw Toontown come up a couple times.
I'm really thinking
And
about that.
Futurama. I don't know, it was just something off the wall that I thought would be kind of cool to...
I'd go with
See what people
Futurama
said.
if I didn't have to deal with suicide booths.
It depends. Do you want the serious answer or the funny answer?
Yes.
Both.
Okay. Serious answer, Mass Effect would be the universe I'd want to come back in. I want to be a biotic. And they just give me one of the L2 amps. In terms of funny answers, universe I'd like to come back in. Whatever universe where I can come back as a Playboy Bunny One Piece outfit. I'm okay with this. Just saying. Or I want to be Hugh Hefner's glasses. All the things he must see. I'm just saying. There's your wonderfully sexist answer for the week.
I'm not really sure what I would say, but it would probably be in some, I don't know, TV show continuity. I just don't know what one, because I like superheroes, but their universes kind of suck.
They're kind of dangerous.
They're kind of dangerous unless you have powers.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think. You want to come back on the TV show, in a TV show universe, but you can't remember which one. There is a television theory, and I can't remember the name of it. It extends from one TV show. I wish I could remember the name of it right now. You could just be reincarnated in that one, and you'd be on all the TV shows. I wish I could remember the name of it right now. There's some theory that someone had, and it has to do with like the Wayland Corporation from
Alien versus Predator?
Yeah. But it's not, that's not the movie I'm talking about. There's a TV show where a kid, the end of it basically is, there's a kid in hospital. I almost want to say it's like, I don't want to say it's like St. Elmo's Fire. It's not that. Man, I wish I could remember the name of this right now. But
Elsewhere? Is that it?
No, but I will try and find it so I can bring it up on the next show. Or maybe I can get it to Steve before he puts it, he can put it in the show notes. Anyways, the idea is that there was a show that was on the air in like the 70s or the 80s or whatever. And in the finale of that show, something happens and it pulls back and you realize there's a kid holding a snow globe. So
I know what you're talking about.
I don't have a clue.
Oh my
Okay.
God, I can see the video too in my head.
Okay, anyways, the theory being that every show, every continuity in every show is in this kid's head because of how this series ended. Because everything that happens every actor that's in the show, this show had crossovers with other shows, like same characters in other shows. So then that character being in that other show then makes that show part of this show's continuity. And one of them happened to be like, I think like they cross over to like I really can't. I don't know what the exact line, but the Wayland Corporation is actually it shows up in Star Trek. It shows up in Firefly. It shows up in a number of different places. But that puts them in the Aliens universe, which then there's a lawyer show where they work for those lawyers work for or lawyers for a Wayland company, not Wayland Corporation, but something to do with Wayland, which then links it to that, which then links. Sorry, hit my microphone. Then links it back to this show, and I really cannot think of the name of it. I'm gonna see if I can find it while I'm. It's an entire theory. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, the show you're talking about is Saint Elsewhere. This was, I think, the ending to the third season. But it would be really interesting to see, like, just to be the multiverse of TV. I can tell you one universe I wish I would never be reincarnated in. The Friends universe.
Oh, God.
If there ever was a show that I believe is an argument for not having gun control, it is the Friends universe. I hate that show with a flaming passion of 1,000 suns. Especially Lisa Kudrow. If I could launch one person into deep space, it would be her. Explosive vacuum.
I love it. I love it. I don't know. I'd probably live in either the Batman or Transformers or Ninja Turtles or Star Trek universe. Probably Star Trek only because it would be cooler. You'd have no disease and very long life if your ship didn't get blown up or abducted by the Borg.
Yeah, I don't know. There's the whole long life, and there's the threat of assimilation. I'm not sure if I want to balance that.
That's why you hang out on Earth. You're pretty much safe there.
That's true.
You go off of Earth, you never know what you're going to run into.
Although, unless you're a Picard, because Picard's extended family died in a fire on Earth, which how the hell does that happen with transporters? Just saying.
They didn't believe in them.
The house
so
on
Picard's
fire.
like, and so Picard's like, F this, I'm out of here. The Federation it is. So yeah. Yeah, so this is basically our last show before going to Grand Con this weekend.
Yay, Grand Con.
Yay. Which will be there on Saturday.
I don't know what that is, Steve. Why don't you tell me what it is?
Alrighty. It's a gaming and comics convention. Like, they have board games and comics artists, and it's in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Is this show going to be up before or after Grand Con?
It'll be up before.
Then you people should go. You should hug Steve when you see him, but don't tell him who you are. Then walk away without saying a word.
We actually had a fellow podcaster come up and talk to us at our booth last year, and he was like, "So where's Blanchard?" And we're like, "Nope, he's not here."
Blanchard is a fictional character. I love you, Blanchard.
He's known on Twig as Grizzly Adams or Aquaman.
I remember how pissed he got about that. Don't call me fucking Aquaman. Oh, I forgot about that.
That's all right. We got ammo on you too.
That's okay.
From Headshot. So yeah. Anything anybody wants to pimp out before we close it out?
Yes,
nope.
actually.
Oh.
I'm going to be playing the Extra Life charity event for Toronto Sick Kids Hospital. I'm going to be starting my gaming marathon early on Friday, October 24th at 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be playing straight through until Sunday at noon Eastern. If you want to find out more information, you can go to birdmangivesback.com. That will redirect you to my Extra Life donation page so you can see what the organization does. And 100% of all the donations go directly to the hospital and the kids themselves. So these kids can have video games, board games. So when they're in the hospital, when they're really sick, they're thinking about having fun rather than facing whatever disease or problem that they currently have. So that's the charity that I do every single year. Currently, I am almost at my $500 goal. So once again, if you want to donate, birdmangivesback.com.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good. We will be sure to pimp that out on the post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put the link to that video I was talking about in the chat, so you guys can check it out too. And if you could throw that in the show notes.
Yep, will do. Will do. So, thank you for listening to Altered Geek Unlimited. You can get a hold of us in the following ways. You can contact us on the website, geekcastradio.com, on the episode post. You can get a hold of us on Twitter at geekcastradio. You can call the voicemail line 502-526-5821. My Twitter handle is at SCP21, and yours are?
At Birdman Dodd. I'm there all the time. More than what is considered healthy.
At Booth Ninja 81.
So, as always, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.